It was the last period of the day when the gunman opened fire with his AR-15. A school employee immediately calling a code red.
So right now we're in a school, an active shooter. It's not a drill. I heard one gunshot, and we thought it was a drill initially, but it's not.
The fire alarm got pulled and kids were evacuating. I heard 5 pops.
The suspect, a former Douglas High School student, allegedly shot into at least 5 classrooms on 2 floors. Authorities say the 19-year-old suspect eventually dropped his rifle on the 3rd floor stairwell and exited the school.
The suspect crossed fields and ran west, along with others who were fleeing, and tried to mix in with the group that were running away.
He was apprehended about 2 miles from the high school.
The fact is, law enforcement responded in a very quick manner to the school and probably established a perimeter to ensure nobody was able to escape. However, the suspect clearly had in his mind he was going to shoot and then try to escape, and he was able to get outside of that perimeter before it was formed and contained around the school.
Within hours, police say he confessed to the killings, stating he was the gunman who began shooting students. Investigators are piecing together the suspect's background. Adopted as a baby, he lost his father when he was 5. Just last November, he lost his mother to the flu and went to live with a friend's family. The neighborhood where he grew up, big homes with well-manicured lawns. Neighbors say it was so normal. The suspect really stood out. According to ABC affiliate WPLG, the suspect was expelled on February 8th last year. 3 days later, he bought the AR-15 at this gun store less than 10 miles from the school.
Once the school expelled the suspect, they should have known that he may have had a beef with the school.
Hey guys, TVG here reporting from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. As of today's recording, it's August 22nd, 2021 at around 9 a.m. I'm standing outside the Broward County Jail and Courthouse across the canal here. And this is where Nikolas Cruz ended up after committing the biggest high school mass shooting in American history on February 14th, 2018, killing 17 people, including students and staff. In today's episode, I'm going to focus on the aftermath, 3.5 years after the mass shooting. From the damage that was done, to the recovery that was taken, to where are we now, and the possibilities of a bright future. Let's take a look and see what we can find. Hey guys, I'm outside the Broward County Courthouse in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. This is where Nikolas Cruz is being charged for 17 counts of murder and 17 counts of attempted murder in the mass shooting at Parkland High School. He's willing to plead guilty if they'll take the death penalty off the table, but the district attorney for the state of Florida will not have that, will not take the death penalty off the table, even though some parents don't agree with it. They feel that rotting in jail is worse than being killed.
I have something very important to tell you. You're charged with some very serious crimes.
Facing 17 counts of premeditated murder and held without bond.
And I find probable cause. I further find the proof of guilt to be evident.
This is where Nikolas Cruz just made his appearance last week regarding his assault on a prison guard.
Although I think that was changed.
The 10th.
The 10th. Longer, they might have to wait till 3:30 to address this case, but usually we can get things wrapped up.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay, thank you so much. We're in recess.
And Deputy Officer Scott Peterson, who was on duty that day as the resource officer, was charged with 11 counts, including child neglect and child endangerment. He was just here in court a couple of weeks ago trying to get the charges dismissed based on that he's not a caregiver. He was a police officer at a school, but they're trained differently, and he deals with parents and teachers and students, and so he's not responsible. And the judge will not dismiss the charges, and he stated that this is up to the jury to make a decision. Scott Peterson moved to North Carolina, and he will be making his next appearance right here at the Broward County Courthouse.
Former Broward Sheriff School Resource Deputy Scott Peterson and his lawyers were back in court today. Peterson faces multiple counts of child neglect and culpable negligence and 1 count of perjury. The charges stem from the mass shooting at Marjory Stoneman High School in Parkland.
Prosecutors have said that Peterson failed to come to the rescue as a student-turned-gunman was making his way through the school's hallways. The law that Peterson is accused of breaking specifically applies to caregivers, but defense attorneys argued during a hearing Wednesday that a law enforcement officer doesn't fit the legal definition of a caregiver. Prosecutors are arguing that school resource officers are inherently different from other law enforcement officers and should be considered caregivers.
The judge says this is a matter for the jury. Peterson's attorney tells us the public has been fed a false narrative about Scott Peterson and that he did indeed take action.
I feel for that parent. How could I not? I'll never forget that day. Not only kids died, I had friends that died. And never for a second would I sit there and allow anyone to die, knowing an animal was up in that building. Never.
After the mass shooting, Nikolas Cruz's brother, Zachary Cruz, came into court right here asking if he could leave the state of Florida and permanently reside in the state of Virginia. And it was granted by the court.
How do you feel about going to Virginia?
I feel pretty good about it. I have an opportunity there that I don't have here.
Okay.
And I know you're 18, and I know that you've had a hard time, and it's been a very emotional time for you with what's happened regarding your brother. So I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to send you to Virginia.
Well, the half-brother of accused Parkland shooter Nikolas Cruz is now living in Virginia. Before leaving Florida, though, Zachary Cruz picked up his dogs from an animal hospital. He had to get permission from Broward County authorities to make this move. He's on 6 months probation for trespassing at the high school where his brother is charged with killing 17 people. Zachary talked about his plans after he reaches Virginia.
I want to start a bullying campaign with Mike, and I want kids to be able to fit in. Kids who don't fit in, I want them to feel there's always somebody they can relate to. My brother didn't really fit in with a lot of people, and I saw the effects of that firsthand.
Cruz is going to have a job as a maintenance technician. He will stay in living quarters provided by a company that helps people transition after drug treatment or prison.
At this time, both cases are pending. Both cases have not gone to a jury trial yet. So 3.5 years later, we're still waiting in the court system. Three parents of the children that died that day ran for Broward County School Board, but only one of them was successful, Lori Aladeff. That's Alyssa Aladeff's mother. She won District 4.
I did not want any other parent to go through the pain and anguish that I go through every day.
Lori Alhadeff's daughter, Alyssa, didn't come home from Stoneman Douglas on Valentine's Day. Ryan Petty's daughter, Elena, didn't either. Now their parents are running for school board in their memory.
I just hope I can communicate to the entire county that we need to keep our children safe at school. They deserve nothing less. Like many of the families, we dedicated ourselves to change a system that would allow somebody like Nikolas Cruz to fall through the cracks.
We're back with continuing coverage on this dramatic primary night in the state of Florida, and it's not often that school board races get a lot of attention, but this year is different after February's shooting in Parkland.
Lori Alhadeff is elected and elated to be a member of the Broward School Board. She lost her daughter Alyssa in the Stoneman Douglas massacre, campaigned on improving school security. She easily beat her two opponents.
The death of Alyssa empowered me to want change to happen, to step up to the plate, to have a seat at the table, to have a vote, and to be the voice of change.
But there will be no change in District 8, the county-wide school board seat. Incumbent Donna Korn beat Ryan Petty and Elijah Manley. Her major opponent, Ryan Petty, whose daughter was killed in the Parkland massacre, finished a close second and said his work is not finished.
We'll continue to hammer the failures of the current school board in protecting our students and our teachers, and I'm optimistic that things will be very, very different in November.
So once again, just to recap, of the 5 seats up, 3 incumbents were re-elected. Only one candidate connected to the Parkland tragedy was elected to the school board.
The widow of a Parkland school shooting victim is running for Broward County School Board. Debbie Hickson filed her paperwork this morning at the Supervisor of Elections office in downtown Fort Lauderdale. Her husband, Chris Hickson, was the athletic director at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School when he and 16 others were killed in last year's mass shooting on Valentine's Day. Hickson says school safety is one of her priorities.
I've been in the system. This is my 31st year in the system. And there are things that work, but there are a lot of things that don't work. And if I want to be part of the changes, then I need to be where the changes are made.
Hickson is running for the seat being vacated by Robin Bartleman, who has decided to run for state senate. The election is in 2020.
And that's it for today. And if you like this episode, please give it an old thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and share with a friend if possible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. TVG, out.